father said, what do you want to do? And I said, I've told you this all my life. I want to be a Bollywood actor. And he said, no son of mine is going to become a Bollywood actor. So what is the next thing you can do? I said, well, I'll become a chef then. I was working in Austria in a really fine restaurant. And there was a gentleman called Igor Petrak, who's general manager of one of the hotels, was having dinner at the restaurant, and he wanted to have something spicy. So you know how I said I had some spices all the time. Mom had given me achar and spices and stuff like that. I had some spices in the room. I went downstairs, and I made him this beef stew where I put some Indian spices in it, like I put some garam masala and some little cumin seeds and stuff, whatever I had at the time. And he tasted it and was like, oh, this is delicious. And so then he asked me to come out. I met him and he said, here's a card. Guys like you should come to Canada. I was like, Canada? Who the hell goes to Canada? Why would you go to Canada? And the reason is because being in Austria, you become so food-centric. All I had heard about Canada, to be honest, was all these guys eat his hamburgers and drink beer. Why? And I was like, why would I go to Canada? Sure. I had no desire. But I had a little bit of a time frame between my 2 seasons. I just applied to him, and guess what? After probably 4 to 6 weeks, I got an envelope from him with a one-way ticket and a 6-month visa to come to Canada. And I worked at the Banff Springs Hotel. That's what I did. His name was Igor Petrak. He was Czechoslovakian. He was an immigrant himself. And so he knew that once I came to Canada, I would not want to go back to any other part of the world because it is the most beautiful country to live in and most beautiful part of the world.
I've known this man for over 10, 12 years. You've consistently been doing something. And we'll talk about those things later. But I want to go back to the story about how did you start your first restaurant?
So I worked for John Bishop at the time as a chef. I was working in the kitchen with him. Great guy. And then one day, and he's British, and he says to me one day, he says, if there's anybody who can do modern Indian food, it's you. You can do it because you have the knowledge of doing the front of the house and the back of the house. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But I thought to myself, I was like, I want to do this modern Indian food because every time I went to the Punjabi market, all I saw was this buffet for $6.99 or $5.99, all you can eat, and terrible service. And I was like, why is this happening? Why is there no more culture into this Indian food? Because Indian food and Indian hospitality is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It's so welcoming. I made this business plan and I went up to them. They had a venture capitalist kind of investment firm. I went up to them and I presented my case. And I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do modern Indian food with bright stemware, with bright glasses. And I want to do this, I want to do the wine list that's local BC stuff. And I want to create this. And they just looked at me and they said, nobody is going to buy Indian food this modern style. All these white people want is a buffet, or the Indians want buffet. This is not going to work for you at all. You should go. I'm not going to give you any money. And I was heartbroken because here I had written the business plan, thought everything was going to work for me. These guys were going to be, they had the money, they were going to give me $23,000 I wanted. And I had tears in my eyes. I was like, oh my God, So I came outside, and the next day I called up my dad. I said, Papa, this is what happened. I can't open up a restaurant. And he was like, why? And I said, this money that I'd asked for, this seed money for $23,000, I'm not going to get it. He said, okay, no problem. So he comes, and I'm sitting there. We've had 2 days. Jet lag is over. We're sitting there, and we had a couple of scotches. And he tells my mom, he says, Kusum, her name is Kusum. Kusum, oh, bag le aayi. Go get the bag. So I'm like, what bag? So he tells go get the bag, and my mom comes in this brown paper bag. $23,000 cash in a brown paper bag in US dollars. And then he puts it down. We had some scotch, he puts it down, says, go fulfill your dreams. And I just looked at it, and I was like, wow. So I had saved $10,000. He had $23,000, and we bought our first restaurant on Broadway and Granville Street. For all my talk about Vikram and all this here, it is my women in the kitchen that put the best foot forward for me. The fact that I can sit here and have a conversation with you is because I have 80 women, Punjabi girls, who are working extremely hard, grinding the spices, roasting the spices, and treating the restaurant like their own family, as if they're cooking for the family. So I always dedicate everything I do to them, because without them, I would be nobody.
Some of the most interesting people in the world, and they will wait. Tell me about that.
But the idea of no reservations was because Gandhi said we are all equal. Here, Elliot Trudeau walked into the restaurant one day with Justin at the time. Justin was a young kid, and he walked in, and the whole restaurant went pin drop silence. Like, oh my God. And they wanted to see, there's one table, they wanted to see if I would give up my principle of giving him a table ahead of anybody else. And I did. I took him to the back. He waited for 20 minutes like everybody else, ate dinner, and he was leaving. And I went and touched his feet. Like in the Indian culture, you touch his feet. And I said, Mr. Trudeau, I just want to say that it was your policies in the 1960s that allowed immigrants like me to come into this country and be successful at it. I just want to say thank you very much for it. And he was so nice. He kind of picked me up, gave me a little hug, and says, I've had Indian food lots of times, but this is one of the best ones I've had. The restaurant became my vehicle to talk about my passion of food and the culture and the country and the cuisine that I left behind. And it became suddenly important to me that, my God, I need to be an unappointed ambassador of that country. I do want one day, I'm telling you this, the way there's the swish of Nike, I want that elephant with the 3 stars one day to be that popular. I want Indian food to be that popular. It's a personal goal of mine, and I won't stop.
You are, and you have always consistently been such an amazing host to so many people. And I want to thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, Vikram.